So I do think patience is a big part of what this community is going to have to develop, because I don't think we're even going to be at like an Avengers movie next year. We're not there yet. It's going to be a slow build.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm your host, Chris, and today we're going to be talking about Marvel Phase 4, and the fan base's current interpretation of what we've been given. Now, I feel like this is a pretty heavy topic of discussion, especially with all of the insane success that Marvel Studios has had over the last several years. From Iron Man till now, the fan base has grown like crazy, and that's very, very heavily thanks to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and all of its connections within, where Iron Man had Easter eggs leading to Captain America, which connected to Thor, and now we have the Avengers, which spiraled out of control all the way until we had Avengers Endgame, and we had almost 50 characters showing up on the screen at one moment. That is some crazy cinematic creation, and a lot of new fans were found along the way. We were talking about it last night on a live show, and different people were telling me when they got into Marvel. Some people said the first Avengers, some people said Infinity War, and every single project between was people's first introduction to the MCU. Now, I've been watching since the very beginning. I remember in 2008 when I went and watched Iron Man. I had a Spider-Man toy with me. I had always grown up loving Marvel. So it was interesting to me to hear different perspectives of how and when people got involved with the MCU, and then it really has spread like wildfire. Well, here we are in Phase 4 following Infinity War, and it seems like some of these fans, both old and new, comic book fans and cinematic fans, are struggling to grasp the idea that the studio is throwing at us. So I want to talk about big picture MCU moving forward past the Infinity Saga. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our other major movie and television news updates happening daily here on the channel. You can also check me out on my other socials, Instagram and Twitter at The Culture Chris, and Instagram at Chris M. Rosser. Links to both of these are in the description down below. So my idea for this video was sparked by a discussion that the Cosmic Wonder, Warren, and I had last night post the episode Miss Marvel number 4, Seeing Red, during the live watch party. So we're on live on our respective channels. We have all of our friends and different fans of the community there chatting with us as well, and episode 4 kind of was a mixed bag. Some people really liked the depthness in the conversation and the explanations in it, and some people thought it was slow or a filler episode. At one point during the live, I even started referring to it as the 4th episode conundrum, where we always have this 4th episode that isn't quite exciting, not as good as the first ones, and kind of builds into the big finale. And it seems to be a repeating pattern over in Disney Plus projects, where there is almost more time than there is content for these shows. And with each show going anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour long, and you usually have 6 shows, there's a lot of information that needs to be introduced. But we are learning a brand new character. Long story short, it led to me saying this. I'm a big advocate for A, trust the process. We've not actually been let down yet. And 2, manage our own expectations, you know? And I'm not saying you have to love every single Marvel project, and I'm not just sitting here fanboying for Marvel. I am a massive fan. Warren is a massive fan. That's why we've started YouTube channels, you know? And we're super blessed to be where we are with them. But you gotta trust the process, and you have to, exactly like what Warren is saying right now, look at these projects for what they are. Like, Miss Marvel was never meant to be anything other than Miss Marvel. Same with pretty much every other project we've gotten on Disney Plus. Like, that's what they are. They're building projects. They're introducing new characters. Like, Iron Man's gone. Captain America's gone. You know, a lot of these characters that the OG characters are gone. They have to build new characters. They just have to. So I do think patience is a big part of what this community is going to have to develop, because I don't think we're even going to be at like an Avengers movie next year. We're not there yet. It's going to be a slow build. Now, this is something that I truly do believe. I think Marvel fans might be getting a little bit ahead of themselves. And I mean this as a blanket statement. Not everybody's the same, and opinions can and will vary. That's completely fine. In fact, feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This video is about the people, and I don't speak for everybody by any means. I just share what I think and what I feel as somebody who I would consider an influencer in the Marvel community. I am daily looking up different types of Marvel news and information, insights, interviews with actors, so I am constantly on the ball as far as understanding where we're headed in the MCU, and I like to think that that gives me some kind of foresight into where Marvel is headed. But this is an opinion, and that is completely okay. Opinions are what make the world go round. I think Marvel fans are being a little bit too picky. I think after Infinity War, we're hoping that every movie is as good as Infinity War or Endgame or any of these massive collaborative movies that we got. I came out of Thor: Love and Thunder, which I was so blessed to go to the premiere for. I was able to see the movie early. I really enjoyed the experience. I really enjoyed the movie. And all of the comment sections say, compare it to Endgame. So many people on Twitter, Instagram, I get DMs. I literally have emails. People send me questions. How does it compare to Avengers Infinity War? How does it compare to Avengers Endgame? Like, is this a joke? There's no world where Thor: Love and Thunder will compare to Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame. For this very reason, if you've ever watched me live or do some type of review video, I constantly say I hate comparing Marvel projects. They're non-comparable. You cannot compare Avengers Infinity War to Thor: Love and Thunder. You cannot compare WandaVision to Thor: Love and Thunder. There's no comparison. They're very different projects. Although they are all coming from the same seed, the same tree, different branches lead to different directions, and different audiences are the target. With Ms. Marvel, for example, this is an audience who is really being targeted as younger teenagers, the new coming audience for the MCU. Yes, older people who are familiar with Ms. Marvel might enjoy the series or might have problems with the way that she's being adapted and represented in the MCU. So far, not being an Inhuman and changing her powers and how she gets them a little bit. But the target audience for this show is very clearly younger, teenagers, newer fans of the MCU. Whereas if you look at Moon Knight or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's geared more towards the older fan base. It's a little darker, it has more of a complex storyline and a different plot. So you're not going to love every single project. But you certainly cannot compare every single project to how good is it on the basis of Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. Disney Plus projects are new. We didn't have these with the first 3 phases, with the first saga of the MCU. They're taking a new idea by introducing characters in these slow, kind of drawn out projects that when we finally do get the Avengers project, you'll know Ms. Marvel and her origin story. You're going to know Sylvie and her origin story. You're going to know Moon Knight and his origin story very, very well. You'll have a connection to these characters. Now, I still think we're several years away from one of these big collaborative movies. I don't even think we're going to be getting an Avengers or a Young Avengers next year. We're well away from any of that happening, and that seems to be the problem that the fan base is having. They want it now. They want to see the next Avengers Endgame now. But Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were 15 years in the making. There was a long wait for us to get to that point of Marvel. And now Marvel's starting over. So yes, does it feel a little slower? Absolutely. But they've gone even bigger than the first time around. We don't have Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Thor 1, Captain America 1. Now we have all of these different projects spreading around all over the Earth and the cosmos and the multiverse. And they will dive on top of each other to create something even bigger than the Infinity Saga. Something even bigger than those collaborative movies that we got. Because Marvel has to outdo themselves. But it takes a little bit more time to build, or else you're going to end up with the DC Universe. And who wants that? The DCEU is an absolute mess because they rushed it. They skipped origin stories. Nobody knew where Cyborg came from or what his story was. Same with Flash, Wonder Woman, all these different characters that were thrown into a Justice League movie without origin stories, without emotional connections. You don't care about those characters. And yeah, some characters you'll care about more than others. Some of you will have a deeper connection with Moon Knight than you will with Ms. Marvel. And that's fine, because when that character comes and teams up with everybody else, you're going to find some pretty big and immense joy. And that will be because of these 2 years we're in, where they truly are doing a massive building stage. Now, a lot of people know that, and some people will just argue that the stories haven't been good with Marvel, and it just hasn't been the same quality. But if you go back and look, Thor, not everybody enjoyed or loved Thor. Iron Man 2 and 3, people complain about them all the time. You can have a bad project. Ms. Marvel doesn't have to be perfect to introduce a character. And then later on, when she is involved with the main storyline, there can still be success and joy and fun and happiness. So a bad project, or we'll call it a project that you don't personally like as much, does not, in my opinion, mean that Marvel is falling off or that there are any real issues. I think they're building to something big. Kevin Feige seems pretty excited for San Diego Comic-Con, for D23, for Disney Plus Day, where hopefully we'll be getting some announcements that will give us a little bit of clarity, because I will admit the direction we're headed is being hidden very, very well. But Marvel knows that we're on our A game, that fans are looking at every minute of every second of every detail and Easter egg that they give us and trying to connect the dots. So they're purposely making it hard. So when you're trying to see what's happening in the future, what's coming up down the road, you don't know and maybe you get frustrated. Well, Feige maybe be laughing at us just a little bit on that one. And that's completely fine too. Yes, time will tell whether or not Marvel has what it takes to create another Infinity Saga or something even bigger with Kang in the multiverse, Fantastic Four, X-Men, mutants, Inhumans. So many different groups that will be joining us in the MCU. And then, of course, a new Avengers team, the Young Avengers, the Thunderbolts, maybe Midnight Suns. So many different directions we're going to be headed. Hopefully, you guys can stay along for the ride, keep a positive attitude, have a little bit of patience with the franchise as they are continuing to rebuild after Infinity War. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I had thought about it a lot before I decided to record it because I don't want to come off as, oh my gosh, Marvel's perfect, or oh my gosh, you guys are being kind of silly or a little bit whiny about your preferences, because it is opinion based. But I do think that there is a lot more here than meets the eye. There's a lot more here than maybe we can even see or appreciate just yet for the future of the MCU. Thank you guys so much for watching till the very end of the video. If you made it to the end, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. I'll make sure to give you some emojis or some recognition or something. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you found this video helpful or enjoyable, and you can check me out on my other socials, Instagram at Chris M. Rosser and Twitter at The Culture Chris. I'll catch you guys all in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.